Welcome to the March edition of the Tempo Storm Shadowverse Meta Snapshot. In the wake of the mini expansion release for Eightfold Abyss Azvaldt, the meta has seen a serious shakeup. Newly added support for Wrath Blood and Enhanced Portal has seen those decks shoot to tier 1, and previous top contender Sephie Rune has fallen off dramatically as it struggles to match them. Spell Boost Rune, Loot Sword, and Last Words all retain their strength, however, and numerous other archetypes are still being experimented with. Overall, the amount of decks in the meta has stayed the same as before the mini, meaning a plethora of diversity and close matchups, though the difference between going first and going second is still very large, and most decks except Spell Boost are heavily first favored. It's a completely fresh meta with plenty of new things to look at, so let's dive in. Wrath Blood, one of the mini expansion's two biggest benefactors, now sits comfortably at tier 1 thanks to gaining Scorching Grandiosity, one of the strongest cards introduced in the mini, and a massive buff to Valnaric Lustful Desire. A mid-range deck that boasts both massively threatening early boards with Flauros invokes and late-game combo potential with Garrodeath, Valnaric, and Vania Wrath is well-rounded, consistent, and shows a solid matchup spread across the board. Take a look at Noir's guide for a full rundown of this powerhouse. The second big winner of the mini expansion, Enhanced Portal, has the honor of being the first pseudo-Highlander deck that's not just viable, but also one of the strongest decks in the format. While all of the one-offs might make it look inconsistent on paper, the core condemned cards act as a solid foundation, and the key to playing the deck lies in pairing them optimally with whatever one-offs you are dealt. With so many single copies, one must carefully consider every card they play. Players who can master the chaos of Enhanced Portal will find it can compete with the best of them. A long familiar combo deck whose current main payoff is Simiel Cleansing Enforcer, Spell Boost has outlasted Sephie to become the rune deck of choice. Even 3 months into this expansion, a definitive Spell Boost list hasn't yet been settled on. Variants of the list include those that play Yukishima, Master Biographer, those that play Kuan, Wuxing Master, and those that rely on Simiel alone. What is certain is that Spell Boost Rune's potential burst is still among the fastest of all decks in the meta, and with proper piloting, it can go toe-to-toe with any deck out there, which is why it's claimed so many JCG wins so far. Loot Sword didn't receive much of note in the mini expansion, but plays just as strongly into this updated meta. Taking advantage of early game ambush followers to push face damage means that between Barbaros, Briny Convict, Stormwracked First Mate, and the Dread Pirate's Flag token, the deck can threaten OTKs as early as turn 7. Meanwhile, General Maximus, Opulent Strategist, and Stormwracked First Mate allow it to play for board just as well. For those interested in learning the deck, players Paper Flare and Buttercup have written an extensive guide which you can view here. While Last Words currently sits in tier 2 as focus shifts toward more consistent decks, the deck has a place in the current meta because of its highly favorable matchup into Enhanced Portal and will serve an important role in tournament play. Overall, the game plan is to draw as many cards as possible in the early game with cards such as Azvaldt, Thunder God of the Tempest, and Hugin and Munin while dealing with your opponent's boards, then finish them off with big card, destruction, storm combos after you've reached 10 Last Words. With so many good options, it's hard to settle on a single recommendation for this mini. Wrath Blood is an excellent all-arounder that can hold its own in every matchup with the right hands and plays, and of course warrants some play before Valnaric rotates. Enhance, Spell Boost, and Last Words are all strong options for those who enjoy them and don't have any heavy downsides either. For those looking for a challenge, there is also still Loot Sword, which rewards skill as much as ever, and there is only a month left to play it before Octress rotates out. In the end though, this is a meta to pick whichever of the top decks you like the most. You can't really go wrong. Going forward, we expect Loot and Wrath to retain their places at the top of the meta. Spell Boost should see a rise as deck lists are further refined. Enhanced Portal is likely to drop off slightly in performance and popularity as more people learn how to play against it, but it will show strong results regardless. Eightfold Abyss Azvaldt has given us a meta made up of powerful, consistent decks without many polarized matchups, the most fun type of format to have for those who value skill expression. In an even field where every top deck has a fair chance against the others, it's up to the pilots to make the difference in who wins and who loses. This means, of course, that it's time to really get comfortable with your play and game knowledge until the release of the next expansion. With a bit of luck, said expansion will send Haven and Forest some love. Crystallize, known for struggling with bricky hands, has been Haven's only only viable archetype for some time, and Forest has once again been removed from the meta as the nerf to Garowell dealt a killing blow to Hazumi. It would be nice to see these two classes receive something that would allow them to keep up with the rest of the field, whether that be added support for existing archetypes or altogether new decks that are consistent enough to compete. Time will tell, and we can only wait to see what the next set will bring. Until then, see you all in next month's edition of the Tempo Storm Shadowverse Meta Snapshot.